Pamela, you did not have to snap on these girls like that.
Say her full government.
I forgot what her full government is.
Pamela Martinez.
Pamela Martinez. Pamela Martinez. You did not have to snap on these girls with a W like that.
With a W.
You did not have to snap. Did you? She had on the Can I Speak to Your Manager, Bob?
Yo, it's that season.
I wish it would have been asymmetrical. If it was asymmetrical, it would have been everything.
It's dubs over hugs this season.
Because it was like regular, just straight. Bloop.
Now she not playing.
If it was like asymmetrical, I'd have been like, nah, you snapped on me.
You know she don't care because she giving out open necks.
I think she's going
to. You can now give an open neck to Bayley now.
So good morning to Bayley and Sasha Banks only. I'm sorry, good morning to Pamela Martinez and Mercedes Castanvernado only. Only. Period.
What's going on, y'all? This is episode 2, season 2 of the Culture 316 podcast. I am Jay the Creative.
I am the cult of personality, the blueprint, the icon, Angelo Carter.
This nigga. And we are back with what has been an eventful week in pro wrestling.
It's been a funny week.
It's been a very entertaining week, to say the least. And we're going to start with the catastrophe that was last Sunday, which was known as Hell in a Cell.
So let me tell you what's so funny, right? And listen, we'll always stand Seth Rollins because he did that tweet.
Yep, Black Lives
Matter. So we always stand Seth Rollins, like whatever. Like he can make like stupid kind of decisions, but we stand
him. But
let me tell you something.
We stand Tyler.
Do you remember, maybe it was the weekend after Clash of Champions, and Seth put up something about how he was going to have the match with, this was right before the season premiere.
Right.
And Seth puts up this post about, I'm going to have a match with the greatest ever, Rey Mysterio, blah, blah, blah. And Sasha mocks his entire tweet.
Right.
And then he does the tweet of, oh, well, you're going to underdeliver and wonder why you're not in more main events and I'll continue to be the best or something like that.
And Sis dead had the match of the night.
Not only that, but then Charlotte had me weak because she goes, the SpongeBob meme, I'm going to head out. And then Sasha puts up the gif of him crying after her match at TakeOver Brooklyn, which completely ended his whole life just there.
Right.
Of him crying, going, yeah, me too. Agreeing with Charlotte, like, yeah, I'm going to head out, but I'm going to drop this tea for you. But look at what happens on Sunday. Now, I'm not blaming Seth.
I'm not blaming Seth at all because at the end of the day, these creative decisions are controlled by one person and one person only, which is Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
You know,
by the way that main event turned out, you can tell it was controlled by Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I'm going to be honest with you. I was not at all interested in the main event. So Sasha lost on Sunday. I mentally left. I said I was going to leave.
The video,
I was like, I'm
the video is going to be up on our Instagram soon after this episode drops.
I'm going to stay though. He didn't get that part, but I was like, I'm gonna stay.
Yeah, he turned.
I turned around. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Because I'm hungry. I don't feel like going all the way home. I'm gonna just sit here and eat something, and maybe I'll leave.
And those buffalo wings at Legend slap. So,
and I fell asleep like midway through the show.
Me too. I took up the entire couch.
Oh my gosh.
And I was out.
I was asleep for definitely Chad Gable, which.
Oh, you mean Shorty G?
Stop calling. His name is not
Shorty G.
Like, Chad Gable is 5'8". I wonder how, when I finally start, get back, what they gonna call me, Shorty H? They gonna call me Shorty C because I'm short? No, just because I'm 5'8" don't mean these hands don't work.
That's a fact.
Period.
But I feel like that's the thing the number one thing we kind of have to discuss is the main event, because the show from top to bottom, it wasn't necessarily bad. I felt like Sasha and Becky's match was definitely the match of the night.
It definitely should have closed the show.
Definitely should.
But I see why. I mean, from a wrestling and a story standpoint, it should have closed the show. But from a story standpoint, I see why they put Bray and Seth at the end.
Right.
Somebody said on Twitter, they were like, "Oh, this is not what y'all wanted to see. This was character building," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Yeah, no." I was like, LOL, nope.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not, number one, it's a no. Number two,
not character building
whether
at
it's
all.
Character building or not, you're like professional wrestling / sports entertainment is a consumer driven business. In other words, if you don't give the people what they want, it's not going to be good. Period.
And then Brian Alvarez, after the main event, he was like, I predict AEW will have 10 million viewers. There's an uproar on Twitter and Instagram. I'm just like, dude, he was joking.
Right.
But like, I'm a regular listener of Brian Alvarez, so I think he's hilarious.
Right.
Like, I think his rants are just the greatest thing on God's green earth. So, like, I understood that he was joking. Like, I understand how he writes, how he tweets, how he talks. But I was just like, y'all just find any and everything to get mad at old Tuna Melts and Brian Alvarez about.
Right.
I like Dave Meltzer too, but this is off topic. But I'm just saying.
And I think the funny part about Hell in a Cell was kind of like the internet uproar afterwards, because there was a whole cancel WWE Network hashtag going on. And the last time, I was saying in the chat, the last time that happened was after Crown Jewel, and they lost 40,000 subscribers. So if you do the math, 40,000 times 10 is about $400,000 a month. If you did the math and you did that for a year, that'd be 4.8 million a year, all off of some. I have an idea. Like, no, it's not good. And you should reconsider.
And they were booing him in the arena. They definitely were booing Seth Rollins during this match. My thing is, I think it's time that we have a discussion about Seth and his title run.
I honestly, the fact that the victory was the fact that the main event was so bad, that and the ending was so bad, that the match, like Seth was not on Raw the next night.
Literally not, and they did not mention Hell in a Cell for 2.5 hours.
They did not mention it for 2.5 hours. They didn't mention the match. Like that speaks volumes. And so, first of all, Seth, you need to apologize to Sasha. And two, let's not talk online anymore, and we can move on.
Yeah.
So,
I think. Am I done? I feel like I have one more thing to say.
You probably. I was gonna say you probably were gonna have a Sasha rant, but
no, it wasn't a Sasha rant, but it's fine.
Bet.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so the WWE began its draft, its 2019 draft on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. And we have our first and second round picks. So SmackDown got Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, Braun Strowman, Lacey Evans, The Revival, The Lucha House Party, and Heavy Machinery. Meanwhile, Raw has Becky Lynch, The OC, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Bobby Lashley, Alexa Bliss, Kevin Owens, Natalya, The Viking Raiders, Nikki Cross, and my guys, The Street Profits. So based on...
Pause. Let's talk about the Street Profits and their stupid thing that they did on Raw this past Monday. That was the worst segment that they've had them in. That little 40-year-old virgin joke and all that. I was just like, I was already irritated.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, they did the usual, summary segment on Raw. And it was horrible. And I usually really like the Street Profits segments. I usually think that their jokes kind of are funny. And because I get them, I get their gimmick. Their gimmick is like, black people. That's what their gimmick is. And I'm just like, they're funny. That was bad. I didn't even pop. I didn't pop for anything. The crowd didn't pop for anything. I was just like, get them off my TV.
I feel like that was not in their creative control, though.
No. It probably wasn't. But, like, you're giving really bad jokes.
Right.
And you have to do the best thing with it. But it's just like, it just speaks to the fact that, okay, cool. They lost their rematch. Now they need to be wrestling on Raw.
Yeah. Like wrestling.
Like matches.
Not talking. They can talk, too. I love their segments. I love the Street Profits, honestly.
Anyway. Okay, cool. Who do you think won? SmackDown on Raw?
This is a loaded question.
One for night one.
For night one, I believe that SmackDown won.
I agree.
I believe that SmackDown won. The reason why I say that is because of one person and one person alone, Bray Wyatt. I feel like Bray has the most interesting gimmick in WWE at the moment.
He's the hottest thing in the company.
He's the hottest thing in the company. And if all goes down correctly and, Bray does not walk away with the Universal Championship, that means that he'll have a way better set of people to work with on SmackDown than if he were to stay on Raw. I honestly feel like if he doesn't win the Universal title, there's no reason for him to be on Raw.
Well, yeah, exactly. So the thing is, like, he didn't win it, and now he's officially on SmackDown.
Right.
So, he can't really, his target is now going to be Brock Lesnar, which will be pretty interesting. You know, I don't want Brock Lesnar to beat The Fiend. I would rather not see The Fiend lose. So they have a very interesting next few months, especially coming up to WrestleMania, because you know who's basically going to be on the same brand. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Very true.
And you know what? We might quite possibly get a third Roman Brock main event.
Roman Brock or Roman Bray?
Roman Brock main event at WrestleMania.
Yes, very true.
You know,
because he is very much being built up to get that title contention again.
There's a possibility that we could have Roman win the Royal Rumble one more time, or we could. You know, you never know. As far as I'm concerned, I do think that SmackDown won for the night for 3 reasons. Bray Wyatt is included in that. Roman Reigns is their biggest star, and Sasha Banks is the biggest star in the women's division right now.
Very true.
Besides Becky Lynch. So
besides Bayley.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that Bayley's the biggest star in the division, because I would say it's Becky and Sasha right now.
Keep going.
Mm-hmm. I would say Becky and Sasha are the biggest stars in the division as of right now. But as far as, you know, who won, I would say SmackDown.
I feel like SmackDown, if they keep like the pieces that they already have, I feel like Bayley being on SmackDown is pretty much locked in. Thank God they are separating Sasha and Alexa.
You know, if you were a Sasha Banks fan in any point of 2017, that's all I have to say.
Right. But I'm just glad that they are separating those two.
I think they're gonna. Do you think they put Charlotte on Raw?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely gonna put Charlotte on Raw, because keeping Becky on Raw, and Charlotte being on SmackDown, and Bayley and Sasha being on SmackDown, I feel like the women's division on SmackDown would be way too strong, and Raw needs more star power that does not include the person who holds the title.
Yeah. I really wanted Ricky on SmackDown.
Same.
I really think that Ricky could have gotten, like, you know, a good, like, rivalry with somebody for the WWE title in the future. That would have been pretty cool.
But then again, this is a think about it like this, right? So within the next 6 months, if all goes the way that we think it's gonna go, they're gonna build towards a Brock Roman program.
Right.
So that's going to take up the next 6 months.
That's true.
If the draft is every single year,
and then it determines whether or not they do like a draft next year, or they go back to the superstar shakeup method that they had been doing for the past 2-3 years. So I don't know. I mean, it depends. I definitely think SmackDown won though. Raw got some pretty interesting picks though. Raw got Kevin Owens,
which I'm very glad about, because I don't know what Shane McMahon's future is going to be, considering that he's kind of like traditionally been considered the overhead of SmackDown.
Yeah.
The fact that Kevin Owens is on Raw,
I really hope they don't move Shane to Raw.
I hope so too, but I hope that separates the two of them.
I don't want that. Yeah, I think they got some interesting picks. So here are the people who were not drafted, who went undrafted. They're free agents in round 1. We have Cesaro, Chad Gable, EC3, Humberto Carrillo, Akira Tozawa, Sin Cara, Eric Young, Heath Slater, Drew Gulak, Tamina, and the B Team. I'm not gonna say it.
I don't care about any of those guys.
Yeah.
Except for Cesaro.
Except for like the first 3 and Drew Gulak.
Yeah.
Where do you think Cesaro ends up?
Cesaro ends up on Raw.
You think so?
Because Paul runs Raw. And Cesaro's a Paul Heyman guy. So I can definitely see him going to Raw. I can see Drew Gulak going to SmackDown. I can see Humberto going to Raw. I can see the B team going to SmackDown. That's all that Akira, I can see him going to Raw.
So let me tell you where I would put people. Start from the bottom. B Team, I would put them on SmackDown Live. Not SmackDown Live. I'll put them on Friday Night SmackDown.
On Fox.
Tamina, I would put Tamina on SmackDown as well. I would put Drew Gulak on SmackDown.
Okay.
Heath Slater, I'd probably put him on Raw. I mean, he'd get lost in the shuffle, but whatever. Eric Young, I would send him back to NXT.
Yes.
Sin Cara, I'd probably send him back to NXT, send him down to NXT as well, so he can compete for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship.
Yep.
Akira Tozawa, same. I would send him back to NXT. Humberto Carrillo, same. NXT. EC3, same. NXT.
Yeah.
Because like any roster, matter of fact, no, I'd probably put him on SmackDown. Because I feel like you get him off of Raw, you get him on SmackDown where there's less superstars and there's slightly more time for him. You know, Chad Gable, I would probably send him. If it's not NXT, it's SmackDown. You know, on SmackDown, I feel like he'd probably get a pretty good shake at like the mid-card title.
And drop the freaking name, bro. I'm not trying to get no Shorty G
And
or Shorty
Cesaro, NXT UK, drops Mike.
That would be, and the funniest part about it is Cesaro being on NXT UK would be a perfect fit. Him and Cassius Ohno reuniting as Kings of Wrestling.
I honestly feel like they should really like blend the NXT UK rosters a little bit. Like I know that they're doing that now. Yeah. They're doing that now, but like I feel like you could really have like, especially since NXT is a 2-hour show now, you have so much talent down there, but you also have talent in the UK that I'd love to see compete with some of the guys. Like imagine like oh my gosh, what are their names? Who are the current NXT UK champions? Isn't it like Flash something?
Flash Morgan Webster and I forgot his name.
Flash Thompson. That's how much of a freaking Spider-Man fan.
Flash Morgan Webster, and I forgot the other guys.
Hold on, we're gonna look it up right this
NXT
second.
UK Tag Champs.
NXT
and I know exactly
UK
who it is. That's the worst part. I feel horrible.
Tag Team Champions. They are. No, that's not what I'm asking for.
Mark Andrews. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, it literally just popped up. So yeah, they're the champions. Imagine them versus like Undisputed Era.
That would be fire. I mean, but here's the problem, and this we're probably going to get more into this when we go to the next portion. Is that NXT? I feel like is already having a hard time with the talent that. Not they are having a hard time, but it's hard to fit all the talent that they already have. Like you think about all the talent that NXT is signed through the Performance Center, and then you look at all the people that they put on TV, and it's like a fraction. It's just like, as far as NXT UK is concerned, you want to put the biggest stars from NXT UK on that show. That's about it, though. So Imperium and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is like full on NXT US now.
Yeah, NXT period now. So just a few more things about the draft. So there was something that was played during the initial SmackDown show that said that if one brand gets one person and they want to do a trade, they can trade. So here's what I think could possibly happen. I don't think it will, but this is a pretty cool possibility. They make the match on Monday between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch a championship match. Sasha Banks wins the title on Raw because, I mean, that's her MO. She wins the title on Raw, and then they trade Becky and Sasha. So they trade Sasha back to Raw. She's the champion. And they trade Becky to SmackDown. And Becky can then go on and be the face of SmackDown, which is what she's basically been since they've decided to, since they did the deal with Fox. Or one of them brands Ronda Rousey, and then they trade somebody for Ronda.
I feel like SmackDown would be the brand to get Ronda.
I feel like that too, but then if Sasha Banks didn't beat Becky Lynch, who was the most believable person to beat Becky Lynch out of everybody on the roster.
Very true. Very, very true.
Who's there to beat Becky Lynch but Ronda Rousey?
That's very true. And technically, there's already a story there for Ronda and Becky.
Ronda lost her title.
In a roll-up at Mania in the main event.
Exactly. She lost her title to a crucifix pin at WrestleMania, in the WrestleMania main event, because I don't know if she didn't want to tap or something like that, whatever. There's a built-in story. You go into WrestleMania next year with Becky being the champion for a whole year, and you have Becky versus Ronda for the Raw Women's Championship. And if they don't move Charlotte, you have Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha in a triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
That would be a fire match. But we can get into this all day. But
yeah, so quickly, I want to go over the people who are eligible to be drafted on Raw on Monday. So out of the men, we have Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, the WWE Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura with Sami Zayn, who is the Intercontinental Champion, Titus O'Neil, Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, The Miz, Ali, King Corbin, Elias, Samoa Joe, Rusev, Cedric Alexander, Rey Mysterio, R-Truth, Apollo Crews, Andrade, Jinder Mahal, Buddy Murphy, Mojo Rawley, No Way Jose, Shelton Benjamin, and Drake Maverick out of the guys.
I was going to say, wherever Charlotte is, Andrade is going to be, because toot it up.
Out of the women, you have Charlotte Flair, who is the former 10-time SmackDown Women's Champion. You have Bayley, who's the current 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion. The Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, who are the current
yes.
WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
Which is the best part of Hell in a Cell, by the way.
Carmella, Liv Morgan, Dana Brooke, the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, who I think they're most definitely going to Raw. Sarah Logan, Fire and Desire, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. And then the tag teams, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, who are the current Raw tag team. I was about to call them Raw Women's Champions. Well, the current Raw tag team champions, The New Day, Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods. Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, Heavy Machinery. Weren't they already moved to SmackDown?
Akam and Razor?
Yeah, no.
They were
Heavy
airing
Machinery is already on
Raw.
SmackDown.
Yeah, Heavy Machinery is
on So this list is whatever.
Yeah,
and Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, which, wow, what a tag team division, huh? We also missing the Usos.
I hope they go to SmackDown.
Sheamus. We don't know what's going on with Sheamus. Naomi. Naomi could go anywhere. Jeff and Matt Hardy, whenever those guys return. Ruby Riott, who's still on the injury list. Mickie James. Mike and Maria Kanellis. Lana. Nia Jax. Lars Sullivan. Do we really care?
Lars can.
The Colognes, who, wow.
Blast from the past.
And then part-time guys, Cain Velasquez, who apparently has signed a full...
We were going to get
to that? Sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, whatever. He signed a full-time deal. And John Cena, who...
He's a free agent. I don't care. He's going to go wherever he wants to.
He's been drafted to Hollywood. That's
exactly.
What he is. The Undertaker, which...
I feel like certain guys shouldn't be up for drafting. Taker and Cena are two of those guys.
And Ronda Rousey. So those are most of the people that are eligible. Those are the people that we haven't talked about. And then a lot of them are the people that are eligible to be drafted on Monday. So I guess we'll find out where every superstar lands on Monday.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow.
Well,
because this is Sunday.
Yeah, this is Sunday. Oh yeah, it's Sunday. So we want to know where you guys stand as far as the WWE draft. So if you guys have certain people that you believe are going to be selected to go to a certain brand, be sure to comment below. But we're going to move on to the next. Sorry, I was looking at my phone because Whitney put in the group chat that SmackDown lost 1 million viewers this past week.
Wow. Dude, they did 3 million viewers last week.
No, they did 4. They did close to 4. They were like 3.8. They're at 2.8 now.
Okay, well, I just said 3 because that's the first number that I saw. But they did almost 4 million viewers last week.
And they went from 4 to 3, essentially.
That is insanity.
But Well, and
I predict 10 million viewers AEW.
Yeah, and that's what we're about to speak about next because this past week, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, scored another ratings victory over WWE NXT. AEW scored a 1.0 and NXT scored a 0.7. And this past week, Dynamite was on TNT affiliate True TV because TNT was airing the MLB playoffs. So I wanted to know your impressions of the rating, your impressions of the show.
I think it's the hype. Once again, I watched clips because I never I was not able to watch it like live. A lot of the clips that I saw were really good. I think the show is, I think it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's a pretty, like I said last week, I think it's great to have an alternative to WWE. I'm probably going to watch NXT first because those are guys that I know. But, I think the thing that helps AEW a lot is that they run an encore.
Very true.
From 10 to 12. So they get a lot more eyes on their product rather than WWE, who has NXT on USA, and then the next night they have it on the network, but everybody doesn't have the network. You know what I'm saying?
Very
some
true.
people just get the network to watch the pay-per-views, or some people just
get it to watch NXT.
So I think it's the hype. I don't think they're going to be doing 1 million views consistently every week from now on. Right. I think that they're going to definitely be more in the high, maybe in the millions, maybe in the high 900,000, stuff like that. I do feel like if NXT wants to ever beat them in the ratings, NXT really, really, really has to do something. Right. Like, they have to give us like an NXT takeover type show on TV.
On TV, right. That was the premiere, essentially.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
No, I think they have to do like an NXT takeover style show, which like all title matches, like a super surprise, like you got to plant somebody in the crowd, like give us something, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I'm not saying that NXT isn't giving us anything, but I definitely think that they need to give us like something more.
But there's a couple things that I noticed as far as AEW and NXT. I feel like AEW's biggest strength right now, I believe hype is one, but I believe that AEW's ability to have cliffhangers in their product is another one. Because I felt like there were more questions that I had on the first episode at the end of Dynamite than I did NXT. There were more questions that I needed to be answered from the end of Dynamite. And so because of that, I was more intrigued to tune into Dynamite than I was intrigued to tune into NXT. Now, granted, NXT had some great matches this week. Lio Rush won the NXT Cruiserweight title. So,
Yeah.
Shout outs to that. There were some pretty good entertaining segments. Isaiah Scott Swerve went one-on-one with Roderick Strong, and that was a really good match. So the match quality has been great from both brands. I just felt like AEW has more questions to be answered. I felt like they did a good job with the formation of this new faction, the Inner Circle, with Chris Jericho as the head. And that's something that I've always wanted to see as a wrestling fan, Chris Jericho leading a faction. And I feel like WWE didn't give him that opportunity, or maybe there wasn't the talent that was willing to, be in his faction. But now, AEW, you have Sammy Guevara, you have Jake Hagar, you have Santana and Ortiz. And I just felt like it was a really good way to go about forming this new faction. So I feel like AEW has won over the past couple of weeks because they have had this incredible ability to have cliffhangers in their product to make you want to tune in next week. And speaking of next week, AEW announced on Saturday that Taz will be a guest commentator during their Philly show.
Who?
Taz.
I thought you said Kaz. I was like,
no. Taz, the human suplex machine, is going to be a guest commentator on AEW, which I think is a pretty dope idea. I like the fact they're doing a guest commentator because you don't want to have too many people in the kitchen and then it just gets convoluted and overcrowded and whatever. Yeah. But we want to know your impressions of AEW Dynamite as well as NXT for this past week. And now we're going to be talking about Vinny Mac selling his soul for some Saudi coins. So WWE held a press conference today in Las Vegas to formally announce 2 new blockbuster matches for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view that will be happening on October 31st. Braun Strowman will be going up against Tyson Fury, and Cain Velasquez will be going up against WWE champion Brock Lesnar. It was also announced that Kane has signed a multi-year deal with WWE. So I want to know your impressions of the matches or the match announcements, and is this something that steers interest in the pay-per-view?
I couldn't quite possibly care less. Like, I'm just being 100% honest. You know, when it comes to somebody like Ronda Rousey, I was really okay with Ronda coming in because Ronda was... We already knew that Ronda was a big wrestling fan.
Right.
You know, Ronda had that appearance at WrestleMania Santa Clara in 2015 with The Rock. So we already knew that Ronda was... And Ronda was big money at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
And when she came in 2018, Ronda had already... Which was almost 2 years ago, which is insane to me because we were at that WrestleMania.
We were at that Mania, yeah.
So when Ronda came in New Orleans... She, she came in at that Rumble technically, and then she had her debut match at New Orleans. When she came in in 2018, she, you know, was already out of UFC for about 3 years. After I know she had lost a couple of, I don't follow UFC, so I don't know. She had lost like her last couple of matches or whatnot. And she came in, we already knew she was a wrestling fan, and she was good. She'd been training with girls like Natty for quite some time, and Shayna Baszler had already been in the business for like a year, 2 years at that point. You know, she'd been training for a long time. So, you know, when she first got in the ring, regardless of, you know, whatever people were saying, it was rehearsed or whatnot, she did a really great job, and she won that entire crowd over. Like, that match was literally match of the night at WrestleMania. Period.
Yeah, I'm hype about that.
Yeah, she was in last year's game though.
I forgot that she was in last year's game.
Yeah, I use her all the time. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought. Oh, Ronda, right?
Ronda.
So, yeah, I mean, when Ronda came in, it made sense because it was like her next transition to her career. Now, Cain Velasquez, you know, apparently he beat up Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, UFC 2010. He was the one that beat him for the heavyweight title.
Okay,
so there's history there, which is, I guess, that's the kind of like the funniest part about like their story. So.
And I guess that's what they're kind of trying to build off of, which is cool. I mean, the story.
He real life beat him up. Like he real life smoked him. Like,
yeah, the story is cool, but I'm just like, you know, and we've seen Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez had a couple of, I think he's had 2 matches. I know he had a match at that AAA show that was going on at the same time as Clash of Champions.
The Impact AAA show in the Garden?
Yes, at the Hulu Theater.
At
Madison Square Garden.
Because they ain't doing the Garden.
Yeah, the one
we going to the Garden.
The one that did like 6 buys.
Yo, Impact?
Anyway, whatever. So, you know, he's had a few matches. He hit a nice looking Hurricane Rana, but I mean, yeah.
That don't mean Brock gonna sell one though.
Exactly. And I'm just like, they're gonna play this matchup as a UFC fight. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care. You know, I'd much rather you put guys on who have been there, who have done the work.
Who can wrestle.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it. You know, this is Saudi Arabia. You're giving Saudi Arabia like the big matches, and because it's bigger or as big or
as WrestleMania,
whatever it's supposed to be, which is dumb because no, it's not. It'll never be.
It'll never be the equivalent of WrestleMania.
Nobody's flying to Saudi Arabia.
I'm not catching. Yeah, I was about to say I'm not catching a flight to the desert,
but I will be flying to Tampa in April.
Hello. Period.
My thing is, you know, you just want to make sure that you're giving everybody an opportunity. So as far as Cain Velasquez goes, whatever. It's a publicity stunt. They're trying to get their Sports Center moment. Fine.
I think that the thing that you have to keep in mind with Cain Velasquez, because I mean the Braun Tyson Fury thing, I'm looking forward to.
I'm not looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Braun is going to lose.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. But I'm looking forward to it because I don't know why. I'm more interested to see how Braun responds in these type of situations than anything because whatever. But here's the one thing you have to keep in mind when it comes to Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. WWE moving to Fox was a move that was caused by UFC's contract running up with Fox, and therefore they signed with ESPN because ESPN had a better deal or whatever the case may be. The reason why WWE is on Fox is to be a sports combat replacement to the UFC. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not because SmackDown was doing better ratings or WWE was better or bigger than the UFC. It wasn't because of any of those reasons. It was meant to replace the UFC. So all their moves pertaining to main events, pertaining to champions, pertaining to people who represent the brand are most likely going to be people that either come from the MMA world or people that are familiar with the MMA world, or whoever in the MMA world is a fan of wrestling is a fan of such and such and such and such and such. Those are the type of people that are going to be mainstays in WWE, and they're going to get main events. And then when it comes to Crown Jewel, we know that Vince loves his Saudi coin. So I feel like this main event was kind of made to kill two birds in one stone. Yeah. Similar to how Hogan and Flair may die if one of them strikes each other in the ring. But hey, you have Team Hogan and Team Flair. Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan are going to be in Saudi Arabia. Plus, there's going to be 5 people on each team, so you don't have to worry about a Universal title match. You're probably not going to have to worry about another title match during that match, but you have all these gifted wrestlers in the match, and you get to see Flair and Hogan in Saudi Arabia. Because, everybody wants to see that.
There was a article that was going around, I think Pro Wrestling Sheet, so Ryan Satin and all them, they interviewed Terry, and I guess Terry said that he wants to have one more match for at WrestleMania 36, and I'm just like, Terry, I promise, and I want this to be a clip that just goes up on Terry, I promise, there is no one that wants that match. Not a single person wants that match. No one wants to see you leg drop. No one wants to see you big boot. No one wants to see you hulk up, because you will probably die. Somebody said, wait, what was it? I think it was in the
Jabba podcast group.
No, I think it was the Solid Monster Sounds Off group, where I think Hulk Hogan said he was willing to die for a last match, and so somebody quotes the thing and goes, then die. I literally screamed, like I screamed so loud,
and that's not the best thing to say about somebody.
I screamed.
But I think,
that was hilarious.
Listen, Hulk, it was.
We don't want to see it.
We don't want to see the match. And on top of that, it's about safety. It's about well-being. It's just like at a certain, wrestling is a very, very physically demanding sport, and it's going to require a lot of you and a lot of moves, especially if you want to get in the ring with one of today's biggest superstars, like AJ Styles
Listen. We don't want to see it.
You just speak it to your
mic.
mic.
And that's on period.
I mean, hey, I think that is kind of that's a grand consensus, but who wants to see Hulk Hogan in one final match? If you do, comment below. If you don't, comment below.
If you do want to see him in one final match, please unfollow us.
But anyway, this is going to conclude today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 2 of Culture 316. We look forward to seeing you guys next week to talk about everything going on in the world of pro wrestling.
We'll talk about, the draft being completed, and, We
can talk about Randy Racist next week.
All right, guys. I'm the cult of personality, Angelo Carter.
And I'm the all-seeing eye, Jay the Creative. That's not my name. That's some Illuminati type of stuff. But anyway, I'm the inside, I guess. So we'll see you guys next week.